Good evening, everybody, and welcome to Tuesday night's Middle Marvel episode at Unlock the Middle. My name is Dean Packard. I'm the principal of Charlton Middle School, and alongside of me, I have my good friend and co-host, Principal Chris Starcheski of Dudley Middle School. Tonight's show will be aired live on YouTube, Facebook, and Twitter. We'd ask you please to join in with comments and let us know where you're watching from around the country as we bring yet another rock star to celebrate tonight. And I can't wait, Chris. We are actually hitting all bases in a metaphor from the baseball analogy of doing an inside the park home run for the Egirl Sisters. So I'm super excited tonight to bring that to a close. Chris, how are you? Great to see you. I know we work together all day long, but this is just a continuation of the fun.
Man, you know what? Middle Marvels is such a great time, Dean. We say this every single week. It's an opportunity for us to get better, us to think a little bit differently and be influenced in ways from educators from around the country who have their game at such a high level that they're taking their schools, their colleagues, and their students' experiences to new heights. And that allows us to help our educators move forward and understand a little bit more about what there is out there. And, Middle Marvels is great. Bonnie Nieves chiming in, one of the Edgew sisters. She is from the town of Dudley, Massachusetts. Teaches out here. And she was a Middle Marvel a few weeks back. It's awesome to see her chiming in with the comment. And our guest tonight is sure to entertain and give us a new path to follow after this, Dean.
Yeah, we can't forget about Kelly and Abby as well, who came on last couple of weeks to tell their story about what they do in the classroom and the difference that they make every day. So again, tonight's going to be the final piece of the puzzle. We're just going to pull it all together and we're going to let it rock. So yeah, Chris, let's rock and roll. Let's bring her in. I mean, I'm ready to go.
All right, man. Well, hey, you bringing Hedreich in. I'm going to go ahead and read her bio, let the world know a little bit about Hedreich Nichols. She's an author, educator, and host of the YouTube series on equity strategies for educators, #SmallBites. She's a retired Grammy-nominated singer and songwriter who uses her experience as a one black friend to help others understand race, equity, and the whys and hows of becoming more culturally responsive educators. Timely that we are talking with her tonight. Her YouTube series, Small Bites, is one way she reaches educators striving to create more inclusive spaces. You know, that's something that we're always talking about, and I'm keen on learning a bit from her tonight. You know, as an edtech teacher, Hedreich uses design thinking and PBL to empower students to become agents of change. Their student-led projects provide them with opportunities to connect with local and global communities through podcasts, service learning, and advocacy campaigns. Her work as a district lead teacher and course writer makes a path for CTE students across the district to have the same real-world learning opportunities. In addition to teaching and hosting #SmallBites, Hedreich just finished 2 books for Cherry Lake Publishing's middle school Racial Justice in America library series. And she's currently writing a book on strategies to help teachers reduce bias in classrooms, and that is due out next year. When she's not teaching, writing, or speaking, she might be grabbing a nap here and there, but she's always working on social justice issues. Hedreich spends time reading Being a Mom to @Swiss Chris on Base and spending time with friends, family, and God Dog Harper. Hedreich, how are you tonight, and welcome?
Hey, Dean. Hey, Chris. Thank you. Glad to be here. Thank you for all those wonderful words.
Well, we're glad we finally tied you down a little bit to get you to come on the show. It was very difficult to get your schedule to open up, and we feel honored to have you here today, not only because of what you do, but because you're the final piece of the puzzle to the Edgew Sisters. You know, we had great conversations with all the others, and tonight we're just going to bring it all together and just kind of make sense of what you guys do and what you're all about as a teacher and educator. So let's jump right into it, because the world wants to hear you, not us. So tell us a little bit about your journey. How did you get to where you are today? Tell us where you're from and give us that little background piece.
Well, I mean, gosh, Chris said all of it, but I am first and foremost a mom to a wonderful kid, a musician, bass player. That's my one gig, my gig one. And then, of course, there's teaching. For my district, I also write curriculum. And I am, let's see, what's the other thing? See, you can tell it's getting late because my brain will not catch up to the words I'm trying to say. And I also am the district edtech lead. So that has been a real fun thing to be in this wonderful unprecedented time. I think I'm sick of hearing it. Asynchronous and unprecedented time. Let's just don't say it.
Throw in pivot too, okay?
Yeah. And I have this wonderful, wonderful crew around me. I see a couple of them in there, I'll teach you ladies. The Egirl Sisters, we are just some educators who kind of found each other through really amplifying student voice. Because that is just the thing in all of our classrooms. It's kind of like, what do you want to do? Okay, great. What does mastery look like? Super. Listen, if you've got another, creative thing, this is the deadline. We need it by then. But if you want to switch it up, match it up, add something, take something away, just come and see me. I'm sure the answer will be yes. And so kind of through those kind of things on social media, we really just found each other. And I actually wanted to kind of go for 3 blondes and a black chick, but we decided on Egirl Sisters because, it's just a little more professional, that's all.
I think much calmer.
Yeah, exactly. But less of a conversation piece, all right?
Yeah, fair enough.
I think we're in for some trouble on Sunday night.
I think so too. Well, leave it at that.
Hedreich, your journey and your involvement is obviously, expansive, and you've overcome some adversities in your career, I would imagine. Share with us a big challenge or challenges that you've overcome in your educational career and how you overcame the adversity you faced.
I think you want adversity or classroom thing? Because I'm not quite sure.
Let's hit a classroom challenge. I think we can get into anything else later.
Classroom challenge is just that empowering. I was talking to Bonnie just recently about this. You give kids, you say, all right, what do you want to do? And they go, deer in headlights. It's like, well, what am I supposed to do? Well, what would you like to do research on? I don't know. Like anything? Yeah. Like, what do you like? I don't know. And so we say that we want to do authentic testing and authentic assessment, and we want to elevate student voice, but we've been saying that for the last 10 or 15 years. But what I'm seeing in the classroom with kids is that we're still spoon feeding them little by little bits, and basically telling them to think this. You know what I mean? When you look at, if you walk through elementary school classrooms, you see a lot of boards and a lot of beautifully decorated boards, and the work is absolutely perfect. That means that you have to tell us if all of your second graders' work has the beans in the perfect place for eyes and the little mouth in the perfect place. That means you put the glue on the plate. I know you did. And if you walk past a wall when the work just looks really kind of like crap, and you see joy. That's when you see joy and you see learning. You say that the kids, and if you ask them, well, why'd you decide to put the nose over here? Well, this is a little guy. He's actually from outer space and he's an alien. And they come with these wonderful stories. So I think that's been the biggest challenge, is to really say, no, it's okay. What do you like? Tell me 3 things you like. Okay. Which is your favorite? All right, great. What would you like to know about that? So the biggest challenge is getting kids to really think and take the reins and discover their own learning. That's been the thing.
That is a challenge. I tell you, when you can get over that hurdle, it just opens up doors for kids just to be themselves. And again, public education, from the viewpoint that I sit in, I've been in it a long time. They corner you. You put into this box. So if we can break down those parameters and just open up walls and allow kids to express themselves for who they are and where they're at, my gosh, the learning will take off in different angles. Hey, speaking of learning and taking off in different angles, talk to me about a lesson that maybe you have done over time that has really stayed with you because you had that aha moment where kids just went, oh my God, I get it. Thank you so much. You made me think beyond what I could ever comprehend doing. Whatever you've got there.
Okay, my favorite, and I do this lesson every year because I didn't do it this year because it's of what we're doing right now. We're hybrid. But I do I call it the greatest inventor, the Great Inventor. And basically what they do is they have to get 5 things from home. They can't cost any money. They have to go in mom's junk drawer and go in the garage and go in the back of uncle's truck and come up with 5 things. And then you have to actually invent something that solves a problem. So some of my favorite inventions, well, my number one favorite invention was from a boy last year. And he said he got tired of his mama always asking him to get up from his side of the house and go get her a glass of water. So he took a Nike box and a plastic water dispenser and a long straw, and he made a water dispenser out of it so he could fill it up and go and give it to her so that he wouldn't have to be bothered when he was gaming. I was like, that is a real need. And let's see, there were a lot of siblings. There was a sibling shusher, and one person her dad allowed her to take what's that thing? The pluggy thing, the face thingy. What's it called again? The faceplate. Yeah. He let her take it off and take the stuff out, and she was able to build a box for inside of it and put the box back in so she could hide her money and like some little jelly beans and stuff from her sister. And one guy made me he actually sold some to teachers. He made a remote control trash can, because you know how kids hate to clean out their desks at the end of the day or pick up paper. Well, when you drive a little trash can around, then kids, I got garbage. So they were just so creative. There were so many ideas. The Great Inventor. That was my lessons. That is my lesson.
The design process right there. Built in.
And that's what we did. We did the whole design process, really, from brainstorming all the way through to reflection and redoing. As a matter of fact, the guy who did the garage, the garbage thing, he actually started with Lego. And when we used it in class, he turned it in. We used it in class, and it fell apart, which was a great thing for the kids, because they were like, oh, Ms. Nichols, he's going to fail. His product doesn't work. No, that's not how this works. He's going to go back and come up with the next idea, and he's going to get to tweak it and do it over again. And so that was a big thing. And they got to learn. It's not about really, it cannot work, but it cannot work is a chance for you to actually fail and do it again. It's a cycle. Okay, good. Well, this is as far as I got in the time I'm allotted, Ms. Nichols. Great, super wonderful. And we look at the paperwork and see, okay, well, try it again. Can I still get credit for it? Of course you can.
You're gonna get an A. It's the learning process. I love the process.
That's the learning that's going to stick with the kids for a long time. They're going to be able to think outside the box, and they're going to be able to apply that in some real life setting.
Yeah.
Speaking of real life, though, Hedreich, real life lessons in Hedreich Nichols' classroom. How do you teach the kids about real life, and how do you incorporate those lessons into your day to day?
My classroom, the number one rule, I usually have make a little video, and it has 8 little rules and protocols about how to come in and what to do, et cetera, et cetera. And number 8 is, and the greatest of all, is kindness, respect, and encouragement. And that's literally, it's a no nastiness zone. And I teach middle school. They like to snap off. That is the way they show love. Right. And we can take a more gentle tone. Well, why? Because we can. Because there's a whole lot of nastiness. You never know if what you're saying in jest might actually really hurt someone's feelings, but they don't trust themselves to say it. So we're just gonna be kind. We're gonna encourage each other. And I'm finished with my work. Is everybody at your table done? Well, no, but So we really just kind of build a culture. And even now, I said, okay, I've got to work with so-and-so who already did this part. Can I put you in a breakout room with Sophie, and so you guys can work together, and can you get her through this part, so that we're really a learning community. And only once, I had a student say, Ms. Nichols, your room is different. People are nice in here. And to this, out of all the students, all the years, but she noticed, you know what I mean? And I know if she said it, then others notice as well. So.
Well, kudos to you. You cultivated that. And again, you got to look at, and Chris and I talk about this all the time, formulating relationships, creating a culture of risk-taking, and it's okay. And it's okay not to be perfect, but it's not okay not to try. And it's not okay not to be kind and be compassionate and caring for others. All those things are important, especially the middle level. I love 7th grade. That's where I started. 7th grade is, I want to call it smack dab in the middle of the learning journey. Think about it, okay? And everything is spinning in 7th grade. From the time they walk in to the time that they leave. And it's no different than 5th to 8th grade as well. But again, there's just something special about 7th graders.
Yeah.
Talk to me for a second about a teaching moment that has just resonated with you and has stayed with you over the years. That connection somewhere in your journey that has really made you say, this is why I do what I do.
You know what? I'm going to say this year. I mean, it really, as much as I say, oh my God, unprecedented year, it has been a very special year. It's been a very different year. And I am last year we decided to do tech and design for one semester, which I thought was an awful idea, but now it turned out it was a godsend, because this year they decided not to do it like that, but that means I got to loop with my kids. And so I actually, because I'm teaching from home, I'm dispensed, and I got to actually have kids that I had last year. So I had a really good rapport with it was a really good year too. I don't know, so every now and then you get a year that you just kind of get them and they get you, and it's just kind of cool. There's not a lot of strife. That was that year for me. We just kind of gels really well. So to get them again, I had solid relationships. So when they're talking now about engagement strategies, let's try this, let's try that. We've had people from the district come into our classrooms and they say, well, what does she do? Like, well, he can't see what I do, because they're like DMing me the whole, Miss Nichols, that was funny, did you see? And so there are all these relationships. And this year in particular, this is the moment of the moments. I've had several students who've come out to me on Zoom in a DM during class. You know what I mean? It's something, we'll talk about something and they'll say, oh, we're writing stories about our 2040 selves looking back on the great pandemic. And so they had to, of course, it has to be realistic fiction, and they've had to make up their characters. And so then they'll say, I'm going to be married to a woman, or I'm going to be Alex, not Lisa, and things like that. And it's the trust, the enormity of that trust. It just blows my mind, and I'm just crazy honored to be that person, and say, well, don't call me, just maybe call me in the chat, in the DM, but don't call me because my mom's in the next room and she doesn't know yet. Just so sweet. And yeah, so that is my moment, just knowing that I'm building the kind of relationships where kids in a year like this, where they might not get out a lot, where they feel okay to talk to me about the things that are really important to them.
Good for you.
Oh, that's super special. That safe and trusting environment is all cultivated and created with that greeting at the proverbial door. It's all about how you welcome them in as individuals, and you remind them that you're an individual as well. And you just connect on such an amazing level. I appreciate the moment being an entire year. That's pretty awesome.
And I will say one little thing about that. If I can give some advice, I call every one of my students' names every class. It's a little thing, but good morning, Dean. Good morning, Chris. Good morning, Bonnie. Good morning, Kelly. Good morning, SHS Flagship. Good morning, Acevedo 493. I mean,
brilliant.
There's your open door to connection.
It totally does. And it gives them an opportunity to know that they're an individual. They're not just a student, in that classroom. But hey, Hedreich, we can tell what your passion is. I mean, you just love what you do. What excites you most about being a middle level educator?
They're funny. God, they're fun. It's never boring. Seriously, it's never boring. We have we have a thing in every class. So I think it's just the personality. Classes, groups have a personality. And with one class, it's me and one girl. I cough. If she's at home, she gets the Lysol, she can spray the computer. And then there's all this all caps talking that goes on in the side chat. And so why are you screaming? Y'all are giving me a headache. And there's just this whole thing that's based on the coughing. And in another class, it's you can just tell they're the old souls and the very serious, studious ones. And they always have, if there's something that I missed, I have them 1A, so they're my guinea pig class. If there's something I need to try out, or a new app, or, they give me really good feedback. They're doing the video for our class award show, and, they're just, all that. And so I think it's just the fun. It's the fun of teaching middles, really.
It's true. And if you can find that fun every day, you're going to last a long time in this job. And it's not a job; it's a lifestyle. The humor is definitely the way to go.
So, Hedreich, answer this question for me. In your class, are all the videos on when you're teaching them remotely?
Okay, that is something that we keep hearing, that you have to have all of your videos on. That's important. But in real life, you can't hear. If you want to listen to me talk like that and you can't mute them. Like if their camera's on and they're talking in their bandwidth, because you're talking, let's say there are two parents working from home, and then there are three kids all on Wi-Fi. I don't know what people have. I know that where I live, I can't get this business. I literally I have the top of what I have. And when my son and I are both on Wi-Fi, it glitches sometimes. So what we do is we have FaceTime right at the beginning, and they know I cut my music off, my camera comes on right at the top of class, and until I have seen everyone, then you are online. And then I say, guys, if you're laggy, if there's a problem, I get it. But if not, just stay on camera. Let's stay in the room together. And that's it. And so they know that they really come on. And then, every now and then in the middle of class, I make them do one of those so I can know they're with
that you're
me.
live. I probably should have said, are all students engaged with you during your lesson? Never mind the cameras. The cameras have become a moot point. That's a fight that we fight all the time. Kids can listen. We got to remember what you got. What did you get from the lesson? What's the takeaway? When they leave that lesson, how can they tell you what they learned? And if that's the case, if they can give you the big rocks about what you did, guess what? It doesn't matter as long as you connect, and as long as they understand.
But I'll say, Dean, I really do. I have noticed, and that's why I let it slide, I guess, from about December, maybe November, because there were so many laggy issues.
Sure.
And I picked it back up with a vehemence simply because I really saw the difference between the people who were engaged and on camera, even some of the time, and the kids who were just a name for the whole time.
Mm-hmm.
And they're not there. And that's almost always the case. I have names like, yo, hey, Jaden, are you there? Jaden, and Jaden is literally not there. And even sometimes when he's on camera, I have heard him accidentally hit the button and say, dude, why are you rage quitting? Because he's looking at the camera. And that's the other thing. It's real, like you said, it's not just the camera. It's about the engagement.
That's right.
But those few who like just don't like to be seen, they're the ones that tend to be less engaged. And those I really kind of push to be on camera, at least at the beginning. Hey, let me see if you, all right, I'm about to change. I'm about to give some direct instruction. Everybody flash me, pop on camera, and then I can see who's not answering there.
Smart.
Oh, Dean, Chris, hold up. Kelly, can you put your cameras on? Let me see. Are you there?
Yep. Smart, great use of time. Very smart management, quite frankly, because you're going to put effort into fighting a fight that you just won't win. So I said that all along. It's how you tell your story, how you roll out your lesson, how you make those kids want more. If you've got that it factor as a teacher, forget about it. The cameras really don't matter. They're going to learn. Guess what? This is a new tool that's going to be here for a long time now. Whether we see it or not, it's going to be part of what we do in some capacity. Hey, going back to the question, I have one for you right now. Through the pandemic, it's been tough. There's no doubt about it for all of us. Let's say that you ran into it. You got a student teacher with you right now. What type of advice would you give to that person who was just offered a job by the superintendent of schools to work in your district, knowing that we don't know a lot about the future, but we're going to just continue on? What would you tell that teacher? How could you help that teacher navigate through the beginning of his or her career?
Funny you should mention it, because I have a TA who's considering coming into teaching full time. Well, I don't. She just had a baby. Congratulations, Miss Thomas. Like today, she just had a baby. Like,
oh boy.
And I have a resident this year. So I would tell her, and have told her, and do tell her that You're right, Abby. I'm sorry. I was reading a comment. I would tell her that when you teach hybrid, the tendency in the classroom is to teach to the 2, 4, 6, 8, 10 kids that are there. But even if there are only 5 kids at home and you have 25 in the classroom, that's not your whole class. if you are giving prizes out and you're doing all of these extra things for the kids who are in front of you, but you don't have a way to reward the kids who are at home, who are working just as hard or even harder because they're isolated, they don't have that, that support, that school bubble, then you are not teaching a whole class. And that's so important. I'm seeing a lot of in-person teachers who are not as sensitive to the needs of the kids at home. You know what I mean? Oh, we're going to have a spirit day. There's a game. Okay, well, let's make sure that there's a Facebook Live Zoom that one of the teachers hosts and everybody can join in and we'll watch the game together, because that same sense of school spirit, that same sense of belonging is so important. It's even more important this year because so many of us don't have things to belong to that we normally would be belonging to, clubs or teams or churches or all of that. So yeah, I would just say simply be mindful that in a hybrid situation, you are teaching your whole class, and that includes the ones on campus, and then providing the equitable education to the ones who are not on campus. And if that means you got to get in your car and drive and go get prizes, then let's do it.
Do what it takes.
So true.
I love it.
So true. Hey, you know what, Hedreich, everybody's been influenced in their lives by someone along their way. Now it's a time for a shout out from Miss Hedreich Nichols. Who's that educator in your life that's just left an indelible mark and it's been a huge influence on you? Could be one, could be two, could be three. It's all yours.
I watched my mom do adult education for many decades, whatever. Seeing her just really go for the highest good all the time, you know what I mean? And push the people who were learning from her to really not to take the high road, to really to not take the low-hanging fruit. You know what I mean? She would always miss whatever the obvious lesson was and go like about 3 steps beyond that to here. So, hey, we should teach the design cycle. Great. Let's do the cycle A, B, C, and D. Here is a box. Let's turn it into a triangle. Okay. And she would say, okay, well, why do we need the design cycle? Why do we need to talk about design? How is this going to help you in life? And she would always take the bigger lesson. And I think looking for those, you mentioned earlier, Dean, those real life lessons. If we really want to talk about authentic assessment, then everything we're doing in class should connect to something that's going on. Yeah. When I taught design cycle, I taught it about going to homecoming dance, going to HOCO. All the different problems you have to solve. I'm not passing history. So watching my mom do that and really, I want to say, well, she was brutal. So I will say, putting people on the spot, just saying, she would ask a question that would be uncomfortable. Before it was popular to say, we've got to have uncomfortable conversations. She was having uncomfortable conversations and she was so fearless. So I'm going to say her. That was, yeah.
Good choice.
Absolutely. Powerful. Yeah, absolutely.
Hey, I'm going to take you out of your comfort zone for a second, and I'm going to ask you a 3-part question, and you can answer it any way that you want. 3 parts are as follows: Small Bites, the Egirl Sisters, and what you've written as a book, the books that you put your time into. So let's start with Small Bites. What are Small Bites? And we're not talking about going out to a restaurant. We're talking about educational food that feeds the mind, I'm sure. So why don't we start there?
Especially after George Floyd was killed, people were, oh my God, this really is happening. But what can we do? And, we use words like dismantling systemic racism, which is something that needs to happen. But if I am a white teacher who has been brought up in a white neighborhood and I now teach at an all-white school, dismantling racism, I have absolutely no idea where to start. That's like, that's saying we got to take down the China Wall. Do I dig? Do I get, Miley to come in like a wrecking ball? What do we do? And so Small Bites is about taking down whatever those things are, one brick at a time. And the China Wall is a big wall, right? So, you don't have to all be at the same place to start taking it down. You just have to be committed to, even if it's with a spoon, digging so we can get the foundation, or even if it's with a little teeny ice pick, that'll be one brick, but it'll be one brick more than if you do nothing. So Small Bites is about providing people actual hands-on resources and ways, strategies to be able to take down systemic racism, to provide more equitable situations and classrooms and campuses for our kids.
Let's bring it up a notch right now, like Emerald will say, okay? Who are the Edgew Sisters? What's that all about?
Oh, you know what? This is all about, again, those are my girls. We just found each other through Amplifying Student Voice and Bonnie Nieves and Kelly Bahari and Abigail French. We just found each other, and we do stuff, and so we support each other when we have good days. We share our celebrations. When we have bad days, you get a rah, 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 rah. It's a safe place to be able to vent and to be able to celebrate, because sometimes if you celebrate on social media, it could be like, oh God, here we go again. We can say that in a way that we can say, oh my God, I rock. And it's okay. You know what I mean? There's humility around, there's sisterhood around, so we don't feel like, God, who is she? All she does is tout her horn, or all she does is whine, whichever way it is. We just kind of can be. And that's such an important thing, you know what I mean? In a school year that there's so, we used to have school years like this, and now we got these kind of school, we got the big roller coaster school years this year, and we get to just kind of help each other and support each other along. It's a sisterhood. It's a sisterhood.
Hedreich the author, go, part 3.
Hedreich the author, part 3. What is anti-racism and what is the Black Lives Matter movement? 2 books released by Cherry Lake Publishing, and two books released by Cherry Lake Publishing. They were a work created. The series was created by Calissa Wing, called Racial Justice in America. And there are 6 books. They're designed for middles. And it's really a trade book, but it can be also bought for individuals. And I really like the series because it gives so much contextual information to things that are going on right now. And as an author next year with Solution Tree, I have a book coming out called something about 8 guiding principles. From bias to inclusivity, 8 guiding principles to do something or other. I don't know, 16 working titles. What can I tell you? But same thing, like Small Bites in 8 steps.
Well, like I said, I thought that we were busy. My gosh, I'd hate to see that calendar, because I think from the time you wake up to the time you go to bed, your motor is running strong. So keep going. You're making a difference. You're the pride of your school and pride of your state. And you know what? You make your voice be that voice that everybody hears, because it's a voice of change. It's a voice of passion. So,
Hedreich, you are just driving forward, and you're driving change by example and by words of wisdom. It's amazing to be able to hear you tonight. I'm feeling your energy through the screen, and I'm knowing that you're perhaps a bit too humble for hearing all of these accolades. But, on Sunday night, upcoming, we're bringing it home right now because we're about out of time, Hedreich. This is a fast 34 minutes.
We know that Hedreich has another show to do, so we can't keep her any longer.
Yeah.
Can I introduce him? So the Edgew Sisters are going to spend Valentine's Day evening with Dean and Chris. Take it away, Chris.
Well, I think you've just about said it. 7 p.m. Sunday night. We're going to be with the Edgew Sisters live on our flagship show, Unlock the Middle. Hedreich, you are a true middle marvel number 31 from the great state of Texas, leading the way, paving the way, and showing us some amazing, amazing tricks of this trade. Be well, everybody. Be safe, be strong, work hard to get better. And as always, just keep on chugging along. Have a great night.